Hello, and welcome to this Christian Walk podcast, the show where no topic is too taboo to empower you on your walk with God. I'm your host, Marley B, and it's my privilege to welcome you back to the conversation. TCW fam, it is season 6. We are so happy to be here, and we are so grateful that you guys are still listening and still watching on with us. I have to admit, getting to season 6 has not been easy. Life has been lifing, and the devil has been busy. But through it all, I am happy to report that God has been faithful. On this walk, doubt can sometimes seep in. My guest today, Kima, joins the conversation. And we talked about the fact that doubt is something that the devil uses to trigger one of his most commonly used tools, imposter syndrome. We talked about how to overcome it, how to recognize it in ourselves, and how to ultimately combat it, not only in the flesh, but in the spirit. We had a great conversation. So let's get into it right now.
Uh, we ain't talked in a minute, yo, please come kick it with me. I got some questions, need answers, so please be vivid with me. This walk is scary, I know that results may vary, but somebody gotta do it. Sit down, let's get into it.
Kima Ruffin, welcome to this Christian Walk podcast.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. Now, listen, let's go ahead and I'm welcoming you like you just got here, but the truth of the matter is this is our second time doing this today, right? Because we tried it a little bit over an hour ago, and as soon as it's been sunny all day. It's been sunny all day. And like probably a matter of minutes before we were scheduled to have this interview, here come a rolling storm, and we tried to press through, and then the internet, my power just went completely out during the interview. And I thank you for being flexible enough to say, you know what, come on, let's do it again. So we're gonna do it again. The devil is defeated. You know what I mean? Because he's trying it. And I want to be transparent about something too, Kima, because we're going into season 6 for my show, right? This is what this episode is for. We're preparing for season 6 that's going to be coming real soon. But I have to admit that I've been struggling, right? I've been struggling just getting people to come on, figuring out what to talk about, having technical difficulties, all kinds of stuff, right? And more than anything, been having problems in my mind.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not sure, if it's going in the right trajectory, if it's touching other people, if it's worth pursuing. I've been fighting with all of that. And honestly, I know what it is. It's imposter syndrome. And I know why it is. Because it's a tool of the devil, right?
Mm.
Because my pastor has already prophesied over me that this show is something that he gave to me because he's going to bless people through it, and that
Mm.
I need to pursue it and focus on it,
Right.
right? And I've been doing it, taking little baby steps and stuff like that. But every year it's like I get through it and I'm like, oh, I'm amazed. Like, oh, I did it again. Another season finished, another season finished.
Right.
And for some reason, for this particular season, it's been extra hard. It's been extra hard. Like this is the second interview that I attempted to record for it. The
Mhm.
first one had all kinds of technical issues, and we got through it. But the young lady that I interviewed, she was like, "Never really had this problem. I'm usually I've never had this problem. I'm always on calls all day, and I just know I'm like, okay, devil, you busy." And then today this kind of took me to another level mad. Like, I'm like, I get it now. And it's like, I'm mad because the devil trying me, but at the same time, I know that he's trying me because he's trying to stop what God is trying to do.
Right.
But he is defeated. He will not win. And I'm going to press on, right?
That
And
part.
he's trying to use imposter syndrome for me. Me
Right.
and you had a conversation about imposter syndrome, and that's why I wanted to have you on today, and we're gonna have our conversation, right?
Right.
just had we having it. Right. But I just wanted to put that out there. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I'm gonna acknowledge what just happened and what God is doing and what the
Mhm.
devil tried, but he failed. He failed.
Right.
He failed. So let me take it back to you, Kima, to give you a moment to introduce yourself to the TCW fam.
Well, thank you so much for having me, girl. I feel like a star. No, I am a star, period. Okay.
Period.
First and foremost.
Yes.
But I am a Ruffin. Originally from Queens, New York, but I definitely represent Charlotte. Been here to 20 years, graduated from Johnson C. Smith with a bachelor's in communication. So I wanted to be the next Wendy Williams. I wanted to, it's ironic that, you asked me to be on your show because
Mhm.
it's like, people have been saying, Kima, you need to get out there and, try to do radio, or you need to be on reality TV. You need to be doing something. So to have you have me, I'm so grateful. Thank you. You thought enough of me.
Yeah.
No, but and I'm a mom. I'm a single mom. I have 3 children. A 17-year-old, 14-year-old, and a 7-year-old daughter. 2 sons are the teenagers, and yeah, what I said, from Queens, New York, yeah, and all that. So yeah, that's me, a little bit about me. Worked for Synchrony, been there 9 years,
Mhm.
and that's it.
Yeah. And so the reason I wanted to have this conversation with you, right, is because when we first talked about it, I knew it was something that people dealt with. You knew it was something that I dealt with, imposter syndrome. You know what I mean? When we had the conversation, I just had like remnants of dealing with it in the past. I wasn't really I wasn't really accepting the fact that I was dealing with it even in that moment. You
Right,
know what I mean? I don't think I could really accept it until just a few minutes ago when I was just like, you know what? What this is what the devil is using because he's trying to deter me, right?
right,
And
right.
so when you were dealing with it, right? Tell me how you knew that you were dealing with imposter syndrome.
I didn't know what it was. I honestly did not know what it was until I applied for the leadership program at Synchrony Bank. And I started doing, they have us do these like Harvard e-learnings on different, management, I guess what styles like leadership and coaching. So I'm reading and they talked about imposter syndrome, where it was saying basically where you count yourself out, the fear of like progressing, and you kind of count yourself out before anybody else does. And I was like,
Hmm.
dang, that is so me. I've done that a lot in the past. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I haven't moved around within the company and haven't moved up, but but I struggle, like, even to just be in the leadership program at the bank. I've been here 9 years. I've been thinking about it. I would apply, rescind. I would get an interview, but rescind the app. I'd be like, no, thank you. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna waste your time. I
Wow.
always felt like I wasn't ready. So
Hmm.
this year I said, no, we gotta stop. Like you gotta stop playing. You got these kids. It's time to make more money. Not only that, people have poured into you. People see your potential. Why you don't see it? You got people rooting for you and you already counting yourself out. You didn't even give yourself a chance. So that's how I basically came upon the meaning and, what that word was, because I knew
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. And so I'm glad that you brought up that point because I think we hear the term and we think that we kind of know what it is, right? Because I know it's some people that think that imposter syndrome. I can even remember a time when I first heard the term, I thought that it meant somebody who was actually intentionally trying to impersonate somebody or
Right,
pretend to be something that they're not. having some kind of manifestation of anxiety as a result of doing something they know they're not supposed to be doing, almost kind of like a conscience type of thing, right? But I actually looked up the definition of imposter syndrome for the sake of our conversation today, right?
Okay.
And it's saying that it's a condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally despite being high performing in external objective ways. This condition often results in people feeling like a fraud or a phony and doubting their abilities. And it's just like the feeling of it, even though you are a high performing person, you
Right.
know that right there tells us that that's a truth. And we know that the biggest battle that we will ever face will always be in our mind. Right?
Right.
The Bible tells us that we don't our battle is not with flesh and blood, but it's in the spirit. It's with the principalities. And that's the number one tool the devil uses is our mind. And he uses our own mind against us to paralyze us, to keep us away from everything that God is preparing for us. And for whatever reason, no matter how good people, like God will send people to tell you, like you're good, you're talented, you're smart, you're beautiful. But for
Mhm.
whatever reason, you don't hear it. Because the
Yep.
devil sends some people to say the opposite. We believe them, but we won't believe what God is saying about us.
Hmm.
That has to be a tool that the enemy is using. And we got to be real about that tool so that
Right.
we can prepare ourselves to speak life over each other and over ourselves. Right? We got to do it for one another. We have to do it for ourselves because that is how we are going to combat what the enemy is trying to tear down, what he is trying to stop. Because people who are on God's side, what we have to realize is that we already won.
Right.
We won the day that Jesus finished his work on the cross. Now, only thing we have to do and everything that we ever could imagine we can have, but it's going to cost us our belief.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
have to believe in ourselves and we have to believe in God,
Amen.
right? You know what
Right.
I mean?
Big
And
fat.
so you know what I'm saying? And so this is how you and me and hopefully people listening in, we this is how we're gonna stop this tool. We're gonna stop the devil being able to use this tool against us,
Yep.
right?
Right.
Um, when I think about some people that because I it's not just us suffering from it, right?
Right.
It's people in high ranking positions suffering from it. I actually Googled some people who had admitted that they suffer from imposter syndrome. Some of them, Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump. Come on, that gotta be like one of the greatest movies of all times. He is one of the
Right.
most beloved actors of all time. And he feels like he's not good enough, right? Lady Gaga, David Bowie, Lupita Nyong'o. I always mess her last name up, but Lupita, Black Panther. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Lupita, the Peter, Peter, the Lou. That one. Amy
Really.
Schumer. Amy Schumer, Tina Fey, Sigourney Weaver, right? We are in good company, right? Because it doesn't matter who you are. The
Right.
devil can use this against you. Is what
That's
we want to make it be known.
right.
Um, Joyce Meyer has one of the greatest books that I've ever read, right? It's called Battlefield of the Mind, right?
Battle.
Have you read that book?
No, but I was getting ready to write it down, girl.
Yes, please get that book because she talks about our battle being in our mind and how the enemy will attack us in our mind, in our thoughts.
Hmm.
It's our thoughts, in our self talk, right? And when we can get control of that, we can pretty much activate the power that we need to overcome the obstacles that we make in our own head. To be obstacles for us to seem like it's hard. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know how some stuff just sound hard and you
Right.
just be like, you know what? No, thanks.
Right.
I don't think that I'm ready. Like you were saying for the program, it was just like you hadn't even tried, even though you are as prepared as anybody could be going into that program, right? And you were like, I'm not ready.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What do you think? What do you think ready meant? Being ready.
You know what? I don't even know. I guess when I look back and reflect, like,
Mhm,
I really honestly wasn't in the right headspace, I want to say.
mhm,
I've been on a healing journey since 2019, about 2018, 2019. Just trying to better me, just trying to find who Shakima really is. So
mhm,
honestly, back then, I don't think I really was in the headspace. Yes, I probably had the qualifications because yes, I did move around within the company. Like, I did
mhm,
lows, I did fraud, I did consumer banking, I did a lot.
mhm,
But let's be honest, maturity wise, I should say, headspace wise, no. Now I think everything is about timing. And now was the time. Like, I've been going to therapy, I've been sitting in it and
mhm.
really like look, praying and just really like trying to get to know me. So yeah, I don't know. Now I feel like 2023, this is my year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Time, you are so right. Timing is everything. In divine order, that's
Mm.
something that we have to recognize as being real, right? And then, I think sometimes we just have to, like you said, be in the right headspace, right? Now you said that you were healing. What were you healing from?
Just like inherited trauma, you know, from
Mhm.
my past, like my mom, really not, like I said, I love her to death. And I don't want to talk bad about her, but I'm
Oh
just
yeah,
being real, I'm being
yeah.
transparent.
About
Mom,
your journey because it's important.
it is because a lot of your childhood trauma affects who you are as an adult. Granted, don't get me wrong, you can't blame everybody for everything that happens to you. You got to be
Mhm.
accountable.
Yeah,
So I was like, I'm gonna be accountable and work on me because I know I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect,
right.
but just dealing with the trauma, like growing up in New York, coming from the projects, coming from a single parent household, my mom running and ripping in the streets, had her first child at 13. My sister pretty much was my motivator for me to want to do better and get out of that environment.
Mhm.
Having multiple men, we seeing men beating on her and just going through a lot. So yeah, I don't I don't know. It's just I just needed to heal. I needed to face that. I needed to face, being sexually abused, I needed to face the fact, okay, no, you don't know your father. But that's not, that doesn't define you. That's not who you are. I needed
Right.
to face people growing up calling, oh, you ghetto, you loud, why you hood, why you da da da, why your personality so big? You know what I'm saying? I needed to face that. I needed to deal with that
Yeah.
because that was a big insecurity for me.
Mhm.
Like everybody see me, they like, oh, Kima, you funny, girl, you crazy. But in my head, I'm like, yeah, y'all say all of this. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, but y'all probably thinking I'm ghetto as hell. You know
Mhm.
what I
Mhm.
mean? Y'all
Yeah.
probably judge you laughing and grinning in my face, but I know y'all judging me. And
Yeah.
that's a big security for me. And I,
Mhm.
I definitely needed to like deal with that,
Yeah.
heal from that, and just know,
Yeah.
like, girl, you are who you are, and forget people. Stop being scared. What you scared for? Why you scared to be successful? Why you
Yeah.
scared? You are who you are, and it is
Yeah.
what it is. Either they gonna love you or they not, and that's okay. And I can say that now. I'm okay with that. Even going through the leadership program, step. the skill training, evolving professionals program, even going through that, it taught me, okay, Kima, you can be you, but boo, you gotta refine yourself. You gotta know who you're talking to. Everybody not from Queens, New York. You're gonna have people on your team that's gonna be from California. They may not get what a bird is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To say a bird. Oh, you a bird. You can't say that to everybody.
Right,
even though I
right.
call everybody a bird. But you know, you just gotta you gotta think before you speak, first of all.
Yeah.
And you just gotta like you say, it's okay to be you, but sometimes you do have to tone it down. And I get that. And I was mad, girl. Let me tell you, I was mad. I was mad at them leaders.
Why was you mad, Kima?
Because the truth hurt. It hurt. I cried. Let me tell you, my second presentation I did, I cried because that feedback, it was real. I ain't crying in front of them now. I wanted to, but I'm mad as hell. I wanted to fight. I'm just being real. I wanted to fight because that thing hurt. But they wasn't lying. They wasn't lying. They wasn't saying, no, you gotta be this way. They just were saying you gotta be mindful of who you talking to. You have to.
Yeah.
You don't want to get fired because you said something wrong. You know, you said something to somebody. They know you. You know, like the leaders, they know me, but that person don't know me well enough. Don't give so much.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like I said a lot. I'm sorry.
You know, you said a lot, but not the way you think so, right? You said a lot as to how powerful it was, right? Because you're right. Some of the life defining moments that we have, they hurt.
They hurt.
They hurt. I never forget the first time my grandma hurt my feelings so bad because about my finances. You know, I was taking care of myself. I was living on my own. I wasn't asking nobody for nothing, but it was something that I needed. And she asked me why I didn't have the money for it. And I was like, I just don't have the money for it. I got bills. I could, I just don't have the money for it. She's like, okay, well, that don't make no sense. You have a good job. You don't have any children. You got to think about what's going on with your money. And I'm like, and it hurt me. And I mean, she said a little bit more stern. She wasn't cussing me out, but she said something that I had to take a moment to say, dang, my finances should be better. I'm grown. And I was like, I might have been right at around 30 when that happened, about 30, 31, 32, around that range. And, I'm like, I'm doing better. We doing better than a lot of people we know. And we think that, and we make in our head, we think that's good enough.
Right.
But, at the end of the day, you should be still striving to, don't stay there. And but that moment, it hurt coming from her because I revere my grandmother. You know what I mean? And so when she said that, it really hurt me. But on the other side of that hurt, guess who got their finances on track?
You did. You sure did.
You know what I mean? Because exactly. So I get that. Those defining moments hurt. So I get that, but it's making you who you are. It's preparing you to be that leader that you want to be, not just professionally, but personally too. And I also want to commend you on something you said before, because I'm definitely an advocate for mental health. And I know, especially in our community, in the Black community, it's still that stigma on seeking help when you need it. And a lot of people are scared to go to therapists because it's going to force them to do one of the hardest things it is to do, which is look back. Embrace the past. And I know what it is to have to overcome the trauma of youth. When you argue, when you think about your past, where you come from, all that stuff, it's like I just rather not. It's like, okay, I survived it, fine. And you like, okay, and this, you like wearing the fact that you survived it as a badge of honor, but that's not enough when you growing into who God wants you to be, right?
Right.
Because it takes not only acknowledging those things, but embracing what happened, right?
Right.
And then learning that through it all, God was there. That's
Right.
the second level, right? That's that thing of that's what helped you build and get closer to God on this Christian walk, right? When you know that through it all, God was there,
Mhm.
and all the bad things, it wasn't him doing it, but he was with me through it. He
Right.
protected me in ways, when you look for God, you'll find him. And sometimes it's so hard to look back because all you see is pain, all you
Mhm.
see is hurt. But when you start looking at it at a mature lens of faith, all of it was preparation.
Yep.
And that is so important. And that's why I always try to get people, I'm like, look, I'm telling you the best thing you're going to do for yourself, it's going to be the hardest thing, but
Mhm.
seek therapy. At what point did you say it's okay to get help? What was that process like for you?
I think when I was stressed out and when my mom was living with me.
Mhm,
My mom lived with me for like a good 8 years.
mhm,
And she helped me, I'm a single mom, so she helped me raise my kids. She did.
mhm.
But it was just becoming too much. And I was
Yeah.
just like, you know what? Between her, work, working in a call center, taking escalated calls, you got people cussing you out, beating up on you there. Then you dealing, with your home life. I said, I need to talk to somebody before I snap. For real. I
Mm,
be in jail. I don't want to be in
mm,
jail. So I said, I gotta do this. I was like, I'm tired. And I was like, I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm
yeah,
tired of not loving Shakima. I'm tired of feeling insecure. I'm tired
yeah.
of beating on myself and not giving myself grace,
Mhm, mhm.
hard on myself and just going through this process and journey. I'm learning that people are just like me. It's a lot of people out here struggling internally. It's a lot of people who have insecurities. It's a lot of people that is healing and working on their self-love. Like nobody's perfect. And I'm also
Mhm.
learning it's not how you start, but how you finish. Cause I be embarrassed. Like, oh, I'm 41 and I'm still trying to figure it out. But that's life.
Mhm. And do you find that that's also comparison, right?
Yes,
Because that spirit of comparison
I
will
stop.
creep in, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So how has comparison been like how would you deal how was that showing up in your life? Like was it through social media or
Yep.
what did that look like?
Social media, comparing myself to friends, and mainly social media. Social media has its pros and its cons,
Mhm.
but I am a firm believer in taking a break.
Yeah.
Okay, either you're gonna block people or put them on pause, and I will
Mm,
put you on pause. If you're spitting negative stuff out there, yeah, I'm unfollowing you or I'm
mhm.
blocking. Or, in the world of Facebook, you can take a break from people. I'm taking a break from you. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. Like, no, but yeah, comparing yourself, because everybody's posting, oh, I got this new house, I got this new car, but you don't know how they got that
Thank you.
or what they did to get it. They might have
Right.
did strange for a little change.
Mhm.
You don't know. You know what I'm saying? All you see is what they're posting. Yeah, they got that new BMW, but they might be living out that. Or they might have got a CPN to get it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just learning, look, focus on you. Do you.
Mhm.
I used to always say that, and my sister be like, "You always talking about do you, boo? So do you?" Yes, I'm doing me. I'm just in such a good space, and I'm so happy I was able to acknowledge and learn what imposter syndrome is. So now I know how to deal with it,
Mhm.
and I know to talk to myself. Cause I ain't crazy, but I talk to myself, I have conversations like, girl, you got this. You know, like I love positive affirmations. You know, even when I post on Facebook, I always talk about how I'm trying to heal. Look, everybody, I'm trying to heal. Or if you see me popping my ish, just know I'm doing that because of where I was at one
Mm-hmm.
at one point. I didn't like myself. I didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
good about myself. So now I'm in a space where, yes, I love Shakima. I'm doing me. I'm single. I'm happy to be single. You know, I don't want
Mm-hmm.
nobody right now. I just want to love on me, focus on me. If they come, they come. If they don't, that's fine. But I'm just taking time for me.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this, right? So taking time for yourself is so important. And I'm
Okay.
glad that you are mastering that because I see you out there in the gym. You have lost so much weight. You look beautiful, right? You've always been beautiful. And one of my favorite dances was the Please Believe. Even way before you the weight loss and all the classes you've been
Yeah.
taking part of it and now leading, congratulations, right? You will still bust a split.
Right.
Okay.
True.
I don't think, yeah, you was always a great dancer.
Look, even at the job parties, Lord bless it. Lord, cutting up at Christmas party.
A whole split, an entire split. And I was here for it and cheering you on. I ain't gonna even lie, right? I ain't gonna even lie, right? But also, equally or even more important is the time we spend with God, right? And so I wonder, so how's the church life, right? Do you have a church home? What does that look like as far as you working on your faith?
So as far as church, I don't have a church, but I have a routine. I do believe in God. Let's
Yeah.
let's be clear. I used to go with my sister when I was younger. My sister actually has her own church. It's called Built on Faith Ministries.
Mhm.
They're virtual,
Okay.
but the way my schedule set up,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tapping in like I should. But my routine is I pray when I wake up. I pray in the morning. You know, I give my thanks every morning. I got like
Mm-hmm.
playlist I play. It's called Morning Vibes. And it's
Mm-hmm.
all gospel songs. You know, Fred Hammond. What is it? No Weapon. That's my favorite song.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
that's it.
they repeat. Okay, for real. And Kirk Franklin. So I guess you could say I'm spiritual. You know, I just brought this new book to help me with my prayers and getting closer to God. And I can't even remember the title, Lord.
It's okay.
But it has like pre-written prayers that I say as well to help guide me. Cause I be
Mm-hmm.
a little uncomfortable sometimes. But I just talk to God, you know, because it's God. Like you don't gotta
Yeah,
have no fancy prayer when you know, talking to God. You
that
just
part.
do it. So
This part. Yeah.
that's what I do.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, of course, I'm going to invite you to church, right? I want you to come to my church. I think you would love it.
Okay.
Because as you continue to develop yourself, I want you to always stay mindful of developing that relationship with God, right?
Yeah.
It don't have to be, hey, you not do it's not, don't, and you go at a pace that God got you in. You don't have
Right.
to go to nobody else's pace. You should. I ain't saying, hey, all right, go to church next week, and in 6 months you should be speaking in tongues, or you need to, check something. I don't
Right.
I'm not gonna say nothing like that. But just come into the house. It's because something happens, and God is doing something beautiful in you, right? And there's some things that He want to do through you, right?
Yeah.
And that development, being spiritually covered. I just know that once you have that component, I ain't gonna say if, once you have that component, that your everything that you want is even going to skyrocket even more because
Right.
I feel like you're in a place where you can receive that. And I feel like even this very moment is orchestrated by God for me to tell you that, right? Because I see that light that's in you, right? I've always seen it, right? From that very first time you came to me years ago and say, "Can I have a one-on-one with you?"
We.
And so, and and it's just like, okay, sure, I always liked you because you were just a likable person, right? And then when that first talk years ago, I said, wow, this girl is amazing. And I knew right then that you didn't know how amazing you were. And I think one of the most beautiful things to see is you discovering how
Right.
amazing you are,
Right.
right?
Thank
You are welcome. And so continue to stamp out that imposter syndrome, because that is how we're gonna win over that, right? Another thing about imposter syndrome, right? Because the world have its ways of dealing with imposter syndrome, right? But
you.
I think that it's important for people of faith to understand how we should deal with it, right?
Right.
Um so the Bible helps us. I have a couple of points just in some research I was doing. The Bible helps us to embrace the idea that we need help, right?
Mm.
Because I think what imposter syndrome does, it makes us think that we're gonna get found out. You just feel like somebody about to
Mm.
find me out. You know what I'm saying? And they gonna know that I can't do this. But
Right.
when we get into the Bible, when we get into the word, you can't do it.
Right.
You know that life is designed to make you dependent on God.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And so that's what walking with God is being dependent on him. And some people don't like that. But it is very refreshing to be able to give my worries to him, right?
Okay.
And as I get those things that I know is too heavy for me, being able to be reminded that it will never be anything in this world, in this universe, that's too heavy for God,
Right.
that should be my comfort, and that is my comfort. You know what I mean? So that's one way that we can do it. Isaiah 9:6 says, right, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Right? We can't do it alone.
Right.
We
Right.
we can embrace that God knew and he sent his son. So that's the good news, right? Number 2, I got 3 points here. Number 2, our confidence comes in knowing our help come directly from the creator of the universe. The creator of everything is
Right.
your personal helper when you're walking with God. Right? So Hebrews 13:6, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me.
Mm.
Because if God be for me, who can be
Right.
against me?
Mm.
And these are the things that we need to do to encourage ourselves. We have to remember to encourage ourselves and to more than anything defeat imposter syndrome. Third, 2 Timothy 1:7. For God have not given us the spirit of fear, but the power of love and of a sound mind, right? So what we have to remember is imposter syndrome is basically fear, which
Pretty.
means, right? Which means it's not from God. And if it's
Mm.
not from God, it's from the enemy.
Mm.
And so it has no place in our heart. It has no place in our mind,
Right.
and it has no place in our purpose, the purpose that God has for us, right? So I think that if we remember those things, we can combat this thing.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
the first step is admitting you have a problem, right?
That.
I
That.
know I suffer with it. I know I suffer with it. Thank you for being transparent and saying, that's me. And it's okay to say it, because I think when we acknowledge those things, we can, one, give them to God, and we can walk into every day with intention, knowing
Right.
that this is the thing that I'm dealing with. And I know it's a tool from the devil. But guess what? I got the word of God. I have the Spirit of God in my heart and as my God, my guide. And with that, this thing won't win today. And it'll be some days where that thing it'll come at you and you might not be prepared for it. But
Right.
guess what? God's mercies is new every day. And so every single day you have an opportunity to be victorious if you choose to do so.
Man,
All
I
right.
agree with that.
So yeah,
If
that period.
all
Yes.
that.
Kima, thank you so much for being here. Right?
No
I
problem.
I never, ever, 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 ever want you to forget the Kima that you know today, right?
Right.
And if in fact you ever have a day where it slips your mind,
Right.
you you go to your creator and ask him who he says you are,
I know that's right.
and he will remind you.
I know that's right. He's doing it. He's doing it. He's doing it. I'm having so many opportunities come my way.
Mm-hmm.
Like with you asking me to do the interview, like my sister asked me to recently speak this weekend at her event. I did another interview for another podcast, so I know something bigger and something greater, excuse me, is coming. So
Yeah.
just thank you, because you always been like a mentor to me. I don't know if you know that, girl, but you know that. You know, you just always been a bomb in my eyes. You've poured into me. You actually let me do my first speaking engagement with what was it, PDN that time.
PDN. Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for just being you and being super dope. So yeah.
You are welcome. It has been my privilege. And I can't wait. I know you just started. And I just can't wait to see you just this star gets higher and higher so everybody can see what I see, what I've always seen, and what so many people have seen, right? And it's just gonna be like, hey, it's gonna be super dope. Like I'm gonna just go ahead and just call it what it is. It's gonna be super dope. And you just remember God through it all and know that everything that you didn't overcome, this is preparing you for this.
Yes,
It's
right.
yeah, because God wastes nothing. Everything, all of our sad days, every tear, every rough day, every situation, even when the power went, you know what I
Right.
mean? Because I have to say this interview was better than the first one, right? Would
So
you say, because God know what he's doing,
right, right.
and if he allow it, he makes it for our good. And
Mhm.
so there's no reason for us to feel like imposters.
Right.
All we need to know is that we are blessed.
That is
And
so
we just gotta walk in that.
That is so true. And true, even if you gotta write it on your mirror with like a dry eraser, that's what I do. I got
Mhm.
affirmations on the mirror. Like you are worthy, you deserve the best. You don't have to be scared. I got that on my bathroom mirror. So even if you have to take that route, sometimes you have to see it, you
Yes,
know, and that's what
yes,
I need to get through and pray, of course, because I always pray,
yeah,
God, spirit of fear, take the spirit of laziness, give me consistency, give me patience.
yes,
I pray for that
yes.
every day. So yeah.
Well, you got it. And then what, just to kind of close us out here, what advice would you give somebody out there watching who is suffering in silence with imposter syndrome? What would you tell?
I would tell them, go talk to somebody. Like for real. Therapy, getting a different perspective, not talking to your family, your friends, because they gonna try to give you all, you should do it like this. No, go talk to a professional that's willing to sit and listen. And sometimes you may have to go through three. You might, you know what I'm saying? Therapy, and that's okay. If you gotta go through 3 or 4 till you find that right person. And even if you
Chemistry
find
matters
you
with that.
outgrow them.
Yeah,
I'm on my
yeah,
probably like 6 or 7. I'm just be honest, but
yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, it
Everybody's not for
is.
it, right?
Absolutely. And
But
like
definitely
one therapist might be for one season, and you like,
right.
okay, I might need to talk to somebody with a different perspective. Yeah. And I think, and that's a great point. I have brought that up before because sometimes, people put so much effort into going to that first one. And then if it don't work, they just give up.
Mm-mm,
Don't do that.
don't
It's
do it.
it's 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 not like, because I'm like, I don't want to feel like you need a plenty of fish for your therapist or whatnot, but you might need to swipe left, on a couple of them, or say, okay, this is probably not the person for me, but that don't mean that the therapist that you need is not out there. Please continue to keep trying again. For anybody listening who tried therapy and it just didn't feel like it was a good fit, and you gave up on the idea, please try again.
Yeah.
Please pray before you search, right? And God will help to guide you in that situation. When you
Mhm.
learn how to pray before you do things and get God in situations, that's the best thing. If you're doing all the thinking and all the planning and everything without God, then that can deter progress,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's make sure you putting God in it, and he'll guide you.
Yeah.
He
That
will
is
guide you.
yes, ma'am. Yep. Pray. Pray. Make time. Make time for God. Even if it's like 15, 20 minutes in the morning. It don't take
It
that
don't take
long.
long, do it. It don't
You can
take
do it.
long at all.
You can have praise and worship on the way to work.
Hmm.
If you driving into the office or if you're virtual, have your
Yeah.
praise and worship session in the morning. I have a praise and worship session every morning. I don't care where I am at. Like I was at the Duke Mansion this weekend. When I got up in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, I don't know why I was up, but I was up. But that's okay.
Hmm.
My little playlist on, started praying, started journaling. So yeah, make time for God.
Oh,
Definitely
yes.
big facts.
Big facts. Kima,
Yes.
thank you so much for being here. I hope you will come back. Would you come back?
Absolutely would, girl. I like to talk. So, maybe we could talk about autism or something, children with disabilities,
I would love that. I would love for you to come on and talk about that one day. So we're gonna set that up. We're gonna make that happen because a
Oh,
lot of moms need that support, right? A lot of
right.
parents need
Right.
that support. So I would love to. We're gonna set that up so that we make that happen.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, girl. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Kima. This has been the best. Thank you so much to my guest Kima for joining the conversation about imposter syndrome. I am so grateful that you came onto the show to share your story with us. I have to say, it's been truly a privilege to watch you grow, and I look forward to all that God has for you, and you just always continue to walk in everything He has for you. As for everybody out there listening, if this conversation spoke to you, please like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember, you can also stream the show on Apple Podcasts as well as iHeartRadio or our new website, which is thischristianwalk.com. Well, TCW fam, there were many nuggets in this conversation, but the bottom line is this. When you're walking in faith, when you're walking in purpose, there are going to be some days of uncertainty. And how we get past those days is by remembering not only who we are, but whose we are. We have to trust that even when we don't know, God has it already figured out. So we just have to not lean on our own understanding, but trust Him. And on this walk with God, I know one thing for sure. Loving God can be easy. Trusting God can be hard. But I believe we can all get there one step at a time on this Christian walk. I'll see you next time.
Uh, we ain't talked in a minute, yo, please come kick it with me. I got some questions, need answers, so please be vivid with me. This walk is scary, I know that results may vary, but somebody gotta do it. Sit down, let's get into it.